Hey, Battle Bill, here with another video, and today we're going to get into some more Great League Go Battle League battles. You guys seem to like it, and it's also coming down to the wire. Season 1 is about to end, so it's really important that I showcase you the best battles I possibly can. So like I mentioned in the last video, my most comfortable strat that I feel like I can get the most wins with is my Double Mudboy Strat with Skarmory as the lead, Swampert, and Whiscash in the back. So I have another set of 5 battles here where I do some winning with that Double Mudboy Strat. Last one, I don't think I did too poorly. I think I went 3-2. This one I ended up doing even better than that. And these are some really good battles. No lag issues like the other ones, no rage, some interesting plays. And I actually kind of want to rewatch these battles because I won a couple of them and I was still pretty surprised on how I was able to pull it off. So let's jump into them together and let's see how these battles go. Also, I'm trying something new because somebody that watches my videos gave me some advice and I'm going to take it in. I'm going to give it a try. Let me know if you notice it or if anything looks different to you. It's not like the biggest change. It's only a minor one. But let's start talking about these battles. So, you already know the strat. We're going to walk through some different lead situations with Double Mudboys. This first battle is up against Spiff. And like I said, I'm leading with Skarmory. I'm going to see whatever his lead is and determine from there how I'm going to play it out and how I'm going to possibly swap Skarmory out. So, we got a Skarmory on Dugong lead here, and immediately I need to get out. Dugong is a very tanky and solid option for Great League battles, and even though the ice moves aren't super effective against my Skarmory, they still deal solid damage to it. So I got him out, brought in Swampert. I was hoping he would swap out, and he didn't. Instead, he stayed in through the Icy Wind, which I have to shield, and then it still nerfs me on top of it, which is crazy. So I'm going for my big move here, and I really shouldn't have. I should have tried to bait, because I'd only been nerfed once, and I should have assumed he would shield the big move like he just did. He swaps out, brings in a Gallade. Luckily, I got some residual energy, so I can go for this Hydro Cannon. He has used one shield, and my Hydro Cannon is nerfed at the moment, so we're going to see if he decides to use his last shield. He ends up not using it, which makes sense, because you can see there the difference in damage. Luckily, I sent it right away, and now his Gallade is going to go for the Leaf Blade, which would one-shot my Swampert at almost any health level, so there was no point in me trying to shield it. The goal here is to now bring in Skarmory and farm down this Gallade and see if it gets to another charge move. The charge moves that Gallade run are Leaf Blade and Close Combat, and you do have to be pretty worried about the Close Combat, even though, again, that's neutral because it's a fighting move. Against Skarmory, it still deals very solid damage. He brings in a Registeel, so now my plan is to get that Skarmory out, bring in Whiscash, and see how he decides to play it. His Registeel stays in there a little bit longer than I would have expected because he really wanted to go for the charge move. I'm assuming it's a Focus Blast, so I'm throwing up my one shield because that Focus Blast would do way more damage than any of Dugong's charge moves. And luckily, no, not luckily, I get screwed. I could have swore that was a CMP tie, but watch who this Mud Bomb hits. For whatever reason, he was able to get his Dugong and squeeze that in just in time to catch that Mud Bomb. So I was annoyed at that, and I was feeling like, great, now my Skarmory's lined up with his Registeel, and my Whiscash is lined up with his Dugong. I'm going to definitely lose this matchup. That was my thought process at this point. But I'm like, alright, let's continue to play it out. He landed the Icy Winds. I'm going for a Mud Bomb here. It's going to do reduced damage because of the Icy Winds. But it still does a nice chunk. They're annoying. And he ends up shielding it, which works out even better. So now I'm over farming a little bit. He's going for another Icy Winds here. And I was debating to myself, maybe I shouldn't have over farmed. But my Mud Bomb wasn't going to take out the Dugong at this health. So my Whiscash has a sliver of health there. I bring in Skarmory immediately and go for the Sky Attack. This Sky Attack is not going to take out Dugong either. So what I'm hoping is that he gets frazzled and doesn't swap, and I get one more quick move through, and then he does swap, so that Dugong is still alive in the back with very minimal health, and that's important here. So I go for a Sky Attack. I'm trying to just put on and add up as much damage onto the Registeel as I possibly can. Luckily, my Whiscash is in the back with enough energy for a Mud Bomb, so if he lets me get through enough damage, I can actually come in with a Whiscash and win the CMP tie. Wait, what did I just say? I don't know what I was trying to say. If he overfarms here, though, I can actually come in with my Whiscash and throw my Mud Bomb no matter how much energy he ends up overfarming now that he's trying to farm down my Skarmory. I'm sorry, I got a little confused on my words. I wasn't sure where my sentence was heading. Regardless, he does lock on me down, so I'm assuming he has enough for a charge move, so I go immediately for my Mud Bomb. I don't even want to take the chance of that Flash Cannon coming through if he had enough energy or not. And this Mud Bomb will do enough to the Registeel, so now it's just a quick move race, and I get to another Mud Bomb just in time because that Ice Shard takes a little while to go through. So I luckily charged up the perfect amount of energy. You can see how much health I have there, and I just pull through that match. I couldn't believe that I won that one, honestly. I thought throughout the entire match I screwed it up. I thought I lost just from the lead, and then once I threw the Sky Attack on his Dugong with my Skarmory, and he decided to swap out with a little bit of health left, I thought I really just had no chance. But anyhow, let's get into the second match. Against D-Rock, I have a Skarmory on Deoxys lead here, and I play this one out very specifically because it depends on Deoxys' moveset, but if Deoxys is running Thunderbolt, I'm losing this matchup, so I don't want to take any chances. What I do is I charge up a full Sky Attack because I know that's how long it takes for the Deoxys to get the Thunderbolt, and I try and swap. Did you see that? I clicked the swap. I clicked the swap. Why didn't it swap? I swear I timed it perfectly. I pulled this move over and over again. Luckily, it was only a Rock Slide, so it wasn't a Thunderbolt that would have almost one-shotted my Skarmory. So I do end up bringing in Swampert, and he decides not to swap, which I found interesting. So I'm like, okay, let's do as much raw damage to his Deoxys as possible while it's still in here. I get off the Hydro Cannon that lands, gets the Deoxys in the yellow. He's going for his charge move here, and I'm debating on whether I think this is going to be a Psycho Boost or not, but I'm like, you know what, even if it is, it's not going to hurt me that much. So I let it go through, ends up being a Rock Slide, which is even better. So I'm wondering what his moveset was. He must have been trying to bait with the Rock Slide on my Skarmory and hope he would get the shields. But regardless, he brings in an Empoleon. I throw a Hydro Cannon, does about like a third to a quarter of its health, but it's resisted because of Empoleon Steel typing. So at this point, I'm just hoping I can get to another Hydro Cannon. And I am able to get to it, but now I'm a little worried because I don't know what his third Pokemon is, and I know he's going to farm down my Swampert. So I don't want to just send in my Whiscash, even though it has a positive matchup against his Empoleon, because I don't want my Whiscash to take a Hydro Cannon to the face. So what I'm going to do here is I know my Skarmory has a Sky Attack, so I'm going to send in Skarmory. I'm going to hit the Sky Attack right away. I end up losing the CMP tie. This was not something I knew, so this is something I learned. You only see Empoleons so often in Go Battle League. And I let the Hydro Cannon go through because I know that if this Sky Attack goes through, my Whiscash can come in and farm, and my Whiscash with 2 shields can beat a majority of the Great League meta. Beat a majority. I can't say everything. If it runs into a Razor Leaf, these 2 shields are going to go to complete waste. So I bring in my Whiscash, and I'm committing to the farm down. Luckily, I get it through before he can get to another Hydro Cannon. And now he decides to bring in a Skarmory, and I'm like, this is not really one of those Pokemon I thought I could beat. So I gotta play this one out very particularly. I go for the Blizzard, assuming that he's not going to shield. He doesn't shield. The Blizzard does about half damage to Skarmory, which is a positive, but the Skarmory's quick moves are adding up, and I definitely need to shield whatever the Skarmory throws. I still also have to worry about the Deoxys that's in the back, because I don't remember how much energy it had, and those counters could definitely do solid damage to my Whiscash. So I'm over farming here. I'm getting all the way to another Blizzard. My goal here is to bait, because now his Skarmory is in Blizzard range, which means if I threw another one, it would take him out. So I'm hoping to just grab that last shield. Mud Bomb goes through. I get the shields. Awesome. My only chance, my only win scenario here is playing out as nicely as I could get it to. And he's going for another Sky Attack. And after the Sky Attack, I'm kind of assuming he's going to swap out. And I don't remember where energy levels are at, so I go for the immediate swap out. And I kind of just set myself up to get screwed because I sent in my Skarmory, and it just got countered down by the Deoxys. So my Whiscash had to go in and throw that Mud Bomb right away, because if I let him farm up any more energy, I didn't know if he had enough for a Rock Slide and whatnot. And now I'm just worried. It becomes a race to the next Sky Attack, and it also becomes a race to see if his quick moves are going to take down my Whiscash before I get to this Blizzard. Luckily, I get to the Blizzard just in time. That might have been a CMP tie. Honestly, I really don't know. But I'll take it. Not complaining. This Blizzard will take out the Skarmory and win me my second match of the set. Both of them with minimal HP left on my Whiscash. So we're off to a 2-0 start here. Now, we're going to get into these next 3 battles, but can you tell why I love this team? I'm off to a 2-0 start, which obviously sounds great, but what you have to take into account here is that I lost the leads on both of those battles. It was a Skarmory on Dugong lead, which is a loss, and a Skarmory on Deoxys lead, which is a loss. Here is another lost lead. I have Skarmory on Stunfisk, and my immediate thought is, I have not played out this matchup before, so I'm going to swap out, because I know it's just not a good situation for me. I bring in Swampert, and then I get surprised as to why he's leaving in his Stunfisk for so long, because if I were to throw the Hydro Cannon, it would take out like 2 2/3 to 3/4 of that Stunfisk's health. So I'm just continuing to overfarm, waiting to see what his decision is. And he ends up bringing the Azumarill, and I know this matchup so much. I've seen, I get Swampert on Azumarill all the time running this team, and the goal is to land the Sludge Wave, which I clearly just screwed up there. He's going to come through with a charge move. I'm going to shield it. My goal here is to commit to getting Switch Advantage back. I need Switch Advantage. I need Whiscash on Stunfisk endgame. Can't have Skarmory on it or I'm screwed. So I charge up to another Sludge Wave, and my goal here is to bait, and I'm hoping that I will get this shield. Great, got the shield. Here's the issue. He threw that Mud Bomb at my Swampert from his Stunfisk, and I'm getting extremely low. I am able to get to this next Sludge Wave, but the problem is I'm not going to be able to get the Switch Advantage that I need so badly. Typically, though, in this situation, you running Double Mudboys, if you have Swampert on Azumarill, land one Sludge Wave, all you have to do is throw Hydro Cannons after that, and you can get Switch Advantage back, but this was a little bit different because he kept in his Stunfisk so long. So I let that Ice Beam go through, and I let my Swampert go down, but I do have a Shield Advantage now, so I'm going to bring in my Skarmory, and I'm just going to farm this Azumarill all the way down, and I'm going to hope that whatever he has in the back is also weak to my Whiscash, just like his Stunfisk is. So, gets to a charge move. I don't care if this is an Ice Beam or a Hydro Pump. Ends up being an Ice Beam. I let it go through. And then he decides to pull off a swap and bring in Registeel. And I'm like, okay, I have a chance here. I can win this match. Both the Registeel and Stunfisk are going to take a ton of damage from these Mud Bombs. And I saved this shield just for this situation. I just need to make sure I don't get baited. I don't. I throw up the shield, it ends up being a Focus Blast, and now I can just go ham with these Mud Bombs. I'm going to throw Mud Bomb after Mud Bomb after Mud Bomb and give Registeel a taste of its own medicine. So, first one goes through, gets him in the yellow. I'm going to overfarm a little tiny bit, and I'm going to throw another Mud Bomb here. I'm not knowing if he's going to be able to get to another Focus Blast or not. I was pretty confident he'd be able to, but I throw this Mud Bomb. It's not going to take him out. It gets him super low, and I don't know if that was lag because he just stopped for a second, but then continued the lock-ons, and my Mud Shots got him down. He should have been able to get off at least another charge move. Maybe it wouldn't have been a Focus Blast, which is why he didn't even waste his time throwing it. But at this point, I know Azumarill had just thrown energy, so it wasn't going to get off another charge move, so I farm it down, and he doesn't even waste his time bringing in the Stunfisk, because I could have just thrown a Blizzard at it, probably would have one-shot the Stunfisk. Also could have thrown multiple Mud Bombs at it, and the Stunfisk just would not have had a chance there. So, off to a 3-0 start, made my opponent quit in that match, and that was after I lost lead. That is 3 matches in a row in this set. That is why I really recommend this team. In the beginning of Great League, like really early on, I knew Mudboys became a little popular, and I guess it died off, especially with Caleb running his double grass. But we're going to get into this 4th match, and we're going up against Viz, and now we have a Skarmory on Skarmory lead, which means, typically to me, means one of two things. Either I'm going up against somebody else running Double Mudboys, or I'm going up against somebody running Caleb's team. Not many people run Skarmory as a lead, so I'm getting very worried I'm going to most likely lose this match. So I overfarm. I'm hoping he throws a Sky Attack. That's all I'm waiting for. What I was hoping was he would throw a Sky Attack as we got to the Sky Attacks, and I'd have one saved on my Skarmory, and then I'd bring in Swampert. But he took forever to throw, so I'm like, forget it. I'll save up all that energy. I know you're almost at another Sky Attack, but I need to bring in Swampert and see what you have in the back. Ends up being a Meganium, and this is starting to look like he's running double grass, because Skarmory and Meganium are 2/3 that double grass team. So I'm going for the Sludge Wave, hoping it'll go unshielded. Ends up going unshielded, and it's looking really close like I can get to a Hydro Cannon and force the shields, but unfortunately he was able to Vine-Whip me down, but this is okay. Skarmory's going to eat whatever his Meganium decides to throw. I'm going to kill out the Switch Timer though, because when his Skarmory comes back in, I'm going to want to make sure I have accessibility of swapping my Mons. But regardless, he's throwing his charge move through, ends up being an Earthquake. I think Earthquake actually is the play there, even though Frenzy Plant's such a good move. Frenzy Plant's double resisted, whereas Earthquake is only single resisted by Skarmory. But still, doesn't do enough to worry me. I expected a Skarmory to come in, and it ends up being Swampert. So it's like this person took the Double Mudboy Strat, the Double Grass Strat, and just put it together to form a very interesting team. Might have to give it a try in Season 2. I don't know. I love my Mudboy Strat. Either way, I'm going for these Sky Attacks. I'm hoping I can get enough off before he can throw multiple Hydro Cannons at me. So he's going for the first Hydro Cannon. My plan's to shield because I know his Mud Shots can't take me down, and I know I can definitely get to another Sky Attack. But my opponent pulls off a really good play, and I give a ton of respect. He comes in with his Skarmory and throws another charge move. And I was debating to myself, I'm like, do I even shield this? I decide not to, because if I shield it, then I'm just throwing a Sky Attack at his Skarmory, and that's really not going to do me any good or be of any good use for that shield. So I let my Skarmory go down. I have my Whiscash in. He's going for another Sky Attack here, and I think I end up shielding it. Yeah, I end up shielding it because the Sky Attack and the Hydro Cannon from Swampert are going to do very similar damage. Maybe I should have saved the shield. Maybe that's what ends up making the difference in the end. This ends up being a very close match. But regardless, I go for the Blizzard, and I'm hoping and assuming it's not going to go shielded because it won't take out the Skarmory. It'll get it really low like it just did. And he kind of wants that shield for his Swampert in the back to make sure he can chuck a bunch of Hydro Cannons at me. But regardless, I definitely had to shield one of those Sky Attacks. Yeah, I didn't have a choice. I had to use my shield there because then he just throws this one, and the two of them combined would have taken out my Whiscash anyway. So I overfarm here. I get to a Mud Bomb. Hoping I overfarmed enough to not get to exactly 3 Mud Bombs, but to get close to 3 Mud Bombs. So this one will take out the Skarmory. He's going to bring in a Swampert. I'm going to go for another Mud Bomb. He's going to shield this one off. And you can count how many times I'm going to say Mud Bomb in these next sentences. And I'm really just hoping that his Swampert left this last situation with no energy. And I'm one Mud Shot away, and he just gets to the Hydro Cannon. And I'm like, oh, this was a really good match. My opponent made a really good play. I give respect, props. It was really smart. He definitely won that matchup out nicely. His team technically had the advantage because he had Meganium Swampert in the back, whereas I had Swampert and Whiscash, but he still played it well, and he definitely made all the right moves to win that one real fairly. So I'm 3-1 in this set, though. This is still winning. Still winning with Mudboys here. And the only loss was off to a really good play. So I have no complaints. That was an even lead matchup. But again, whenever I see a Skarmory, I just assume it's Caleb's team because of how popular it became. Even a lot of people in my own personal Discords and group chats on Pogo PvP are running that team. So I just kind of assume every time I see a Skarmory that it's double grass. But regardless, we're getting into the 5th matchup, and I have a Skarmory on Swampert lead. And even this matchup I like to play out interestingly. So I'm going to overfarm. I'm going to let one Hydro Cannon go through, and I'm going to let him send a second Hydro Cannon that I'm going to shield. My goal here is to land a Sky Attack or get it shielded. Regardless, just get a Sky Attack through and just have a little bit of residual energy for when my Skarmory needs to come back into this match later on. So I'm going for the Skarmory. I'm going for the Skarmory here. I'm going for the Sky Attack here. He shields it, and I'm waiting for him to throw his next charge move. And I can tell by now that he's definitely, or she's definitely overfarmed. But regardless, I'm going to stick to my strat, and I'm just going to hope for the best. Hydro Cannon's coming through. I bring in my own shiny Swampert so we can match nice little purple Swamperts. And I'm wondering where her Hydro Cannon is. And she must have just really overfarmed because I got to this Hydro Cannon and I definitely shouldn't have. I can tell that her Swampert definitely has enough energy to throw 2 Hydro Cannons at this point. But I know I can get to another one also. So I'm going to let this first one go through. It's going to do a solid amount of damage to me. The second one's going to come in very shortly, right here. I'm going to shield this one, and then I'm going to get to a Hydro Cannon of my own, and I'm going to take out the Swampert. So now I just need to be worried about the 2 Pokemon in the back, but luckily I got both shields, and this ends up being a Skarmory. So I'm like, this is interesting. He doesn't have a grass type in the back. I always try to assume it with Double Mudboys. You kind of have to because once you let your guard down, a grass type's going to come through and just slaughter the back end of your team. But luckily, I'm able to get off 2 Hydro Cannons here, and this will get her Skarmory into the red. But I also know that she farmed me down, so she's most likely at a Sky Attack or almost at a Sky Attack with her Skarmory. So I do a quick swap. I bring in my Skarmory and throw the Sky Attack just so I can waste that energy. I don't want to let her overfarm, and then when I bring in my Skarmory, she Sky Attacks me down and I don't get to my energy essentially. So that was my play. She now brings in a Registeel, and I'm like, I just got my Skarmory switch locked. Maybe that wasn't the best play. But luckily, I wasn't really in farm range. It would have taken a lot of lock-ons, even though I'm in the red to take down my Skarmory. So she flash cannons my Skarmory. Skarmory goes down, and I'm just debating to myself, how do I play this out properly? I have to worry about the Swampert in the back, but I also need to make sure I throw mud bombs at this Registeel to take it down. So my plan here is to overfarm and wait for the Swampert to come in just like it did, so I can throw this Mud Bomb to take it out. The last thing I wanted was a Swampert Hydro Cannon to come through, because that combined with a Focus Blast from Registeel would have been plenty of damage to take out my Whiscash. So me overfarming the way I did was the play. If I would have thrown a Mud Bomb right away at the Registeel, the Swampert could have came in, farmed up some energy, landed a Hydro Cannon, and then the Registeel most likely would have gotten to at least one Focus Blast, and it would have messed me up. So that was my only win condition in that scenario. Now, my opponent's going to get to their Focus Blast, but they're not going to get to a second Focus Blast in time. I have plenty of energy to get to one more Mud Bomb and farm down, so my opponent ends up deciding to quit. And what was the lead scenario there? It was Skarmory on Swampert. That's technically a 1 lead on my end. I just don't take any chances because of the fact that I always assume Grass type in the back. But Skarmory does beat Swampert out in the lead position because you can get to 2 Sky Attacks. It wins in the 1 shield, because you can get the 2 Sky Attacks, whereas they'll only get to about 2 Hydro Cannons in that time. They'll almost be at the 3rd one. And if you bolt shield, the 2nd Sky Attack will take out the Swampert because of how glassy it is, and because of how much damage the Skarmory's Air Slashes do to the Swampert. But regardless, that's my set. That's a nice little 4-in-1 set. Let me know, again, what you thought of the little difference, if you even noticed it in the video. And that'll wrap up our clip for today. So, my goal, there's 2 days left in Season 1, only 2 days. You see where my rating is, but with Double Mudboys, my last 2 sets of the day I went 4-in-1 with, and overall, out of my 5 battles for today, I definitely had a positive winning record. I think I ended with my rating about 28, 30-ish. So my goal for these next 2 days is to finish Season 1 strong and to get to 3,000. It's not very likely, but we'll see how it plays out. Either way, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. I've been really appreciating all the support, and I will see you guys in the next video.